credit, I ain't seen them plant any corn, harvest any corn. Didn't happen to see them at the elevator last year. I ain't seen them nowhere. Now, had one guy on our commission say, you know, I think he needs to be seen more. I haven't seen him in an ag thing anywhere outside of the thing that they created themselves. I mean, if that satisfies you guys, that's fine. I don't care. But I noticed to begin with a reluctance that you really even wanted to join hands. And I'm not saying that that was wrong. But I guess, I don't know what John's looking for, but I'd like to know, you know, what your thoughts on to carry on, because I don't really think you grew together enough to be, you still have a choice. Now, maybe I'm wrong, John. Is there a choice?
Oh,
Okay.
I wanted to open it up for discussion.
That's what we're
shut up. No, you're doing.
And really, I was one that didn't think we ought to join. I didn't feel comfortable with just the conversation up to that point.
And I'm not saying that you was wrong.
So,
Discuss
you know, here I
it.
am saying, you know, yeah, okay. But we was afraid we wouldn't get any money back.
Correct.
Or I wasn't.
Well, I think we were more or less the other way, that we were gonna be able to have availability of grant money, that there would be additional funds for future programs, and that was the main sales pitch of joining the LEDC.
Right, and you know, and the only the person really led that was our chair. And he said, you know, if you guys are gonna get anywhere at all, you're not gonna get anywhere without a commitment with them. They're gonna help lead you through whatever you might think would be good, whether it's a pickle plant or what it be. Just, you're gonna need LEDC to help with the grant money, with the leadership to go through this thing. We really, you ain't even get nowhere without them.
And
I'm not so sure of that, but.
let's use Wynn as an example. We all sat here and thought Wynn was a good fit for the county. And where are they? You know, nay, hay, or whatever. So that's just my bias, and I'm not a voting member of this committee, but I just wanted to stimulate a little conversation along those lines, because we did bring up the, you know, I don't know where the LEDC's headed. You know, they're asking the commission to enact Act 88. Yeah, that's, yeah, and which is 1908 or something around.
1913.
Okay. Yes. So it's old legislation, and there are advantages if you look at it. The funding in Washtenaw County, they not only do economic development, they do their cooperative extension with Act 88.
And some other things.
Yeah. So we've been asked, I'm sure commissioners will do their homework and look at it and consider it seriously, because you know they presented it to us. But you know, quite frankly, I don't know. You know, I don't know what's going to happen.
Jeff, Larry, both of you think they had something on this?
The guy that implemented this, working with WDC, WDC says they were never passed. We were just pushing, is what their leader told. Okay.
So now you got co-captains.
And now, and there was nobody down the road, I mean, that act as, that were told anything about it either, that they were supposed to work with. I just wanted to add that.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
And in defense of Jim Dartman, you know, they aren't looked at as top of the heap. If you tell them, they really answer to a smaller board. Yes. So.
Politics.
don't want to.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about two different entities. Now, whether they can help each other, you know, I'm not picking on them. I was kind of on the fence, but I was doing this just a little bit a year ago, saying, well, try them, you might like them. Maybe this is a good idea. Grant money, leadership, things that need doing that you don't know where to open the doors. It sounds, you know, after it was kind of sprung on us, really, which I don't like to begin with, that would be a good idea. Well, I could see some merit in it. And kind of encourage you. Not really knowing that if I was doing the right thing back there. But I encourage you. But I have not seen much activity. And, you know, you're at the crossroads where you don't, and I don't think you have to make a decision today, but, you know, can you do as well as you did before? I don't know. I don't see where you gained a great deal in the last year. Now, I could be wrong. They meet 4 times a year, I guess.
4 times a year with a 20-some person committee.
Yeah, well, then they got another elite one that they work downward from there.
Yeah, there's another committee.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a,
Yeah, then about, go back to the ranch and start up the rock machine and polish and give them another ring so they can show us.
okay, well, we kind of got off. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 things here. We're also getting close to where my interpretation of what the last chairperson asked us to do in consolidation. And he's getting close to what I perceived as our next project, which we have not designated as our project. Our next project would not get the seed money to start it from the county. I accepted that, I understand that. And they told us that our best opportunity to get that would be to go to the economic development, because they would be able to do the grant writing for us, because any next money we get, other than our local contributions we get, probably gonna have to come through them. I accepted that as a possibility, and I can see where the chairperson was telling us, and I believe what he said was probably the best way it could happen. I have a personal experience of 30 years working with EDC, and it's not been good. I have not felt that they served the county for the amount of money that they received, and that it wasn't the best investment of those monies. First of all, every little town wants to have one. There's just too damn many players, and the money's all being split up amongst, the city of Adrian, at one time I might have had 3 organizations doing the same thing. Then they consolidated with educational institutions, and the county become almost a non-existing partner, who wasn't the big money giver and had very little input as to what they were doing. And last they wanted to come to us to get economic development bonds. That was the only time they really came to us. Just my personal experience, that's how I felt about it. And I really never got a chance to test what I think the last chairperson wanted, because we haven't got a project. I guess if we were to have a project, we would go to them and ask them for assistance. Is the only way that I would feel whether we got what this partnership meant. And so there isn't a scorecard on that. Now, what I'm reading about the fact that they want to go to a millage, I'll ask Matt. I think the '88 Act a long time ago was for agriculture.
Yeah, it's for agricultural, economic development, and tourism. Things. I mean, it's primarily designed for ag development.
But it wasn't for industrial applications.
I haven't read, I mean, I don't know the
It doesn't
legal language,
specifically
but
say
it
it
does
wasn't, but it doesn't
Right.
say it was. It's
It's-
very vague
The
in
loose
this.
interpretation is agricultural development and tourism. The more specific interpretation, I don't, it's not my department, but
I don't know what the committee's gonna do, but if they do that, I would think this would be the body you should be giving that money to, not them. We would consider contracting with them with that money. I can understand that. Talk, huh? But I do think that it was intended for agriculture.
Mhm. Oh, I agree. I think if you ask Ralph and I and Chris, I think, given what we know now, I think it would be, you'd be hard pressed to get 5 votes. Maybe you'd be hard pressed to get 2 to enact something without going to a vote of the people. And if you go with a vote of the people, it wouldn't be Act 88 anymore, just be a millage for economic development.
If they go on their own, that's fine, and I can support that. If they want a millage, put it on the ballot and let them decide. If the public decides they want to have economic development for the type of functions that we've experienced that they've done, the public will speak, the public will tell you. But the law, as I understand it, is for agriculture. This committee has done a heck of a lot more for agriculture than they have. And we would be the committee that should receive those funds as to how they would be spent and how much of that half mil should be allocated. We should be the advice to the board of commissioners. That's how I feel on that. And that works.
Do they still raise funds as they used to? Like
Yes, they still get private funds and they solicit.
In addition to what the commissioners.
And that's probably, to a great extent, a lot of time is spent doing that.
But they've always had a hard time doing that, and the time kept getting harder all the time as years have progressed.
And the biggest problem with that is that you go to municipalities, and municipalities are never satisfied with what they get for their money. Even though anything that happens in Lenawee County really is gonna benefit everybody. Because you're a transient population. I mean, if business comes to Lenawee County, it's gonna help everybody. So there are arguments that it makes sense, and if you had a millage, it'd be spread evenly over all the people of Lenawee County, and the LEDC could work freely to do, or whatever organization could work freely to do as they wanted. And I guess it would go without saying that if commissioners were to do that, probably the political structure of it would look differently. We as far as, we'd probably have the last say or final say in what happened, because we answer to constituents. We don't answer to a few businessmen or a few municipalities and their boards. We answer to the people, so we'd have to structure it differently to satisfy that relationship.
And one of the real problems I've had in the past, and I don't want to get into this thing very deep, but, we're a partner, we're one of a lot of partners, whether it be industrial people or people in business that belonging to LEDC and giving a contribution is two different things. They're two different entities. Now, there are people that give, and I don't know who they are, and that's always kind of been a stickler for me, because I kind of like to know who my partners are. And, now, although I'm just representing 1/9 of the people in this county, I still like to, I don't want to know how much to give. I'd like to know who they are. I'd like to know if we got 50, if we got 20, if we got 12, and we, when I came there, they was given about 25,000 to LEDC, they being the county. They stepped it to 50, then we have a little bit of a credit crunching. This is all memory, and I'm not as good as I used to be, but then I backed it back off to 40, and it kind of sat there for a year, maybe went back up to 50, and then we went about 3 years ago with this large donation. And they took the cut with us through the whole thing this last time around. But that said, back in the $50,000 years, Adrian would come along with 50. Tecumseh would be at 20. When we came at 150, they went on vacation. Now I think there's an outside chance that Adrian and Tecumseh are giving some.